Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Violet Rayne.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Vialet Rayne, and today I have Aaron. Is it Pyne?
Pyne, yep.
Pyne. Aaron Pyne with me today, the Elven Wizard. He has been a spiritual teacher, healer, visionary artist, and designer and entrepreneur for over 20 years, helping people to discover their true spiritual self, bringing forth their soul's purpose. Over the last 3 years, he has developed the world's first immersion audio-guided adventure meditation game that blends mythology, meditation, personal growth, and a fun fantasy-themed experience. This life-changing experience is available on the website, app, and he has a new book that's going to be released that's a supplemental. He brings unique, magical, and fun insights into your spiritual journey. Welcome, Aaron.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to get to talk to him because the reason that we even connected was he found our store and reached out to see if we'd be interested in carrying his books. And as Nikki and I dug into his website and what he does, we were like, oh, this is so cool. We got to have him on the podcast. So talk to me a little bit, Aaron, about your journey. What's led you to do some of the things that you do today?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of always been there in a way. I was talking to somebody the other day, like as a kid, I remember drawing these geometric light language symbols and patterns like all over my schoolwork. I was still paying attention and did good in school, but they're all over. And nobody around me was into anything like this growing up. So it was just sort of like there in my system. And then when I was about 17 is when I first discovered things like astrology and meditation and tarot, and was just like, oh my gosh, this stuff's amazing, and was reading. And then I found out about my first psychic festival. This was in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I grew up. And I went to the psychic festival and got readings from like 4 or 5 different psychics. And they all told me, they're like, you're a master of this stuff. You've done this in many lifetimes. This is like your thing. And I was kind of like, what's going on here? And then one of them was like, I'm teaching this class to connect with your spirit guides and energy work. And I took that right around my 18th birthday. And I went in there. It was me and then a bunch of women in their probably 50s and 60s. And I'm like, this young guy, like, what am I doing in here? But then she, guided us on these meditation journeys, and just my guides would come in. I started seeing things and receiving all this information. So it just opened up very quickly for me. And then I just dove into studying, anything and everything metaphysical and spiritual I could find, and healing work and energy work. And also started creating digital artwork at that time. That was a way for me to sort of process and express, all the things I was seeing and understanding. And very soon after began teaching, and somebody offered me a space to do healings out of their office, and started, was within a year or two, I was back at that same festival with my own booth offering services. It just kind of came through. So, and then I also got into web design and graphic design for a lot of spiritual businesses because I could understand what they were doing, and it was a way for me to help them translate, their wisdom into that website and online. So over the years, I've been just doing all that and teaching and just really trying to help people open up their spiritual gifts and understand, how those things work. And then about 4 years ago now, I, in meditation, had this idea for Inner Realm's journey to bridge gaming and fantasy, which was something I loved as a kid, with spirituality. I kind of saw this connection. A lot of the fantasy was inspired by ancient mythology and ancient spiritual practices and elves and fairies, and all that was just normal day-to-day life back for our, ancient times. So this idea came to bridge these and bring them together and bring the fun and the magic that I loved as a kid in the gaming experience with the guided meditation and the interpersonal development. And so I've been working on that passion the last 3 years to build the online website and then the new book that goes along with it. And within that process, within that experience, you create your avatar, your sort of mythical persona, and you meet me in there as the Elven Wizard to get you started on your journey and to help you really discover what that is for you and bring that to life. So, I realized I need to walk my talk kind of thing. So I've continued to push myself. How much Elven Wizard can I be? How much can I live that and bring that through on the day to day? And even, have this amazing outfit that I've built and that I was just sharing with you how I, bring that out to the airport or downtown cities. I've walked around full on a wizard to just bring that magic and that life to the world.
I love that, because there is some truth around, even if you look at Dungeons and Dragons and all these games and all these online games that they're talking about this magical stuff, there's an underlying truth in all of that as they're playing or as they're creating or as they're moving through. And they don't realize that there's an element of truth in all this. So I love the fact that you're blending all that.
Yeah. And like for me, playing Dungeons and Dragons as a kid, watching Lord of the Rings, movies like that, I always had the sense of like, oh, I love this. But it felt separate. Like, oh, it was just in this experience for a few hours with D&D or a few hours watching a movie, but it didn't necessarily translate into life, right? It was like, okay, now I have to go back to this reality. So it was like, so this is like helping. How can we live that magic and create that magic? And yeah, there's definitely areas of life that don't seem that magical, but we have the opportunity to bring that magic and create magic. Even just like your beautiful office there, like that's beautiful and magical right there behind you. And I've got this little setup here. Like, how can we bring more of that magic to our life? So it's not just a game that's fun, but how can it be part of our day to day?
I love that because I think we miss out on some of that, right? Because, even for me as a spiritual teacher, people come in and take different classes and I start talking about dragons and fairies and elves and unicorns. And they're like, that was in the movies as I was a kid, that's fantasy. And I'm like, but it's real.
Yeah.
It's really real. You can tap into those energies and work with them. And just because they're in a different dimension or plane, they're here with us. If we know how to connect and be open and work with those beautiful divine beings that are all around us. So, I think we get closed off because as kids, we watched all this fun kind of shows and movies and all that, and it was very magical. And then somebody said, well, that's not real.
Right.
That's not real.
Close the door.
Close the door. We shut it. We shut everything down and we lose the magic of what all's around us.
Yeah. And I've studied a lot of like history and like before, Christianity came in, that was part of daily life all around the world. Every culture had, slight variations of fairies and spirit beings, and they all have different names, but it was just part of day-to-day life, is that those beings are around us and there's different levels and ways of communicating with them. And then of course that sort of got shut down and disconnected from that. But they're all there and they're still around, and some parts of the world still honor them. And it's amazing for me, but also others that I've helped, like once they open up and start to, and I'm sure for you, bridge that connection, like how much it transforms their life and empowers them and brings them insight and wisdom and joy in their life. So why not?
I love that. Well, there's lots of people out there, Aaron, that are like, I can't meditate. Meditation's not for me. And I don't know what you think, but me personally, I think meditation or stillness or just being still throughout the day is so important for many, many reasons. Share your perspective on meditation and the benefits, or why you might feel it's important.
Totally. Yeah, definitely very important. And there's very different styles. And part of my intention with Inner Realms Journey was to make it more fun and engaging and accessible. So we've had a lot of people do this that are like, I can't meditate, I can't sit still. But I'm like, well, can you sit and watch an episode of Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or play a video game? They're like, yeah, I can do that. Like, well, you'll enjoy this because these take you in a story. There's a beautiful music and sound effects, and there's this story unfolding. So it's this very immersive, rich experience that's not just you sitting there, trying to tune out your mind. Eventually there are aspects in there of that, but overall it's like this fun story. So a lot of people like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to do the next one. And you get points and you level up. So like, I want more points and I want to go do the next one. So it makes it more fun. We also have a whole kids program, and Emma, who's on my kids director, she's been a teacher for 20 years. When we started developing this, she was running this in her classroom with her kids. And, these are kids from all over, and she couldn't get them to normally sit still or do anything, right? And they do this, like, oh my gosh, this is great. And they wanted to do another one. And then they're writing about their experiences and their creation. So I've kind of, I'll say, evolved meditation and what that even means and how it can work. And people are still get the benefits of like calming their system and relieving their stress and anxiety and opening up their imagination and their creativity through this. So sort of a different version and way of using it. And then it's like retraining your brain, right? Our brains in modern society have been trained to be out here and doing all these different things. So as you start to work with this, it sort of retrains you to be able to be inside yourself and in your inner world, and you learn how to calm your nervous system, which can calm the mind, right? You learn how to open your breath, which calms the mind, right? And you become more and more comfortable and used to or adjusted to being in that sort of internal state.
I love that. I love that because it also has lots of great health benefits, because if you can calm and learn to work within your system, you can do lots of wonderful things to improve your health, to improve your stress level, all that stuff, which is really, really important. I love that.
Yeah, super important.
So talk to us. You've been teaching for a long time. So share a little bit about what your classes are about, what you teach, some of the things that you do in that area.
Yeah, so everything from connecting with your spirit guides. I work a lot with the Tree of Life, also known as Yggdrasil, which is found all over the world. And that's sort of a map of ourselves and our connection to all the different dimensions and realms of spirits, helping people work with that. I love to help people connect with their avatar, which is kind of the core of Inner Realms journey, is to really discover that mythical self and bring that to life. I've got upcoming courses on dragons, so connecting with dragon energy, dragon tantra, how to activate that energy within your system. I teach light language and how to kind of channel these sounds from these other dimensions and bring them through. I teach healing work, energy work, and I've got an upcoming course I'm working on putting together here on magic and like how to discover your own form of magic and what that means for you, and then create that in your world for a way for you to transform yourself and transform your experience. So a lot of different stuff. And then also do mead ceremonies, which is the sacred honey wine that was part of the ancient world, connected with the elves and the fairies and the goddess. So I occasionally do mead ceremonies where people get to sample the mead, and then I take them on a magical healing journey with that as well.
I love that. I love that. Are all these classes in-person classes, or do you offer some stuff online?
Yeah, it's a mix. So there's definitely online, a lot on my website. So especially because I'm traveling a lot right now, moving around a lot. So I do pop in and do live events here and there, different places. And then there's a lot online.
Yeah, and those that are listening, he actually has a place here in Colorado if we get him back here every once in a while.
Yeah. I'll be popping in there.
He travels, so we're hoping to get him to the center to come and do something, because it all sounds very, very amazing in what he's offering. So I think that's really cool. So
yeah, and I show up full on wizard with the staff and everything.
I love the wizard aspects. The wizard aspects. So you also talked about healing. So I assume you do some one-on-one stuff with people as well.
Yep, totally. Yeah. I do Zoom sessions or phone sessions with people all over the world, and tuning in everything, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And, I work through, I see everybody as these multidimensional, complex energy beings. So I'm able to sort of tune in and see what's going on in their system, and, almost like energetic surgery, open things up, go between lifetimes and incarnations. I work with all these spirit beings to come in and support that process. So I can do some very deep healing and offer one-off sessions or packages, if you want to do more in-depth work and in-depth training.
So what are you? So I always tell people, what is your client base? Like, what clients do you love working with that you can help? Like, what are they struggling with? Because that gives people an idea of, where your gifts are and how you can help them.
Right. I guess it's range. I mean, definitely people that have had some spiritual practice before is helpful because I go pretty deep. So being able to open up those layers and levels is helpful. But yeah, I mean, I did a live event last night online, and I had people asking about how to talk to their teenage daughter, to their moms had in the hospital with leg problems, to heart, chest issues, to back problems, to people wanting to connect with, having trouble connecting with their spirit guides and wanting like that. They're aware of them and they know they're there, but they felt like they weren't really getting a clear signal. So open them up with that, helping people connect through their past lives. So pretty, I guess, a wide range is what's come to me over the years.
I love that. You talked about helping people with their avatar. So I know for me, when I work with people, what I find is, and this is my perspective, that their soul has an element of these elementals in it. And one seems to be stronger than the other, that they show up with this energy. And it sounds like that's what you're doing with the avatar. Yeah. So do you help them know what that is, or do they come already with an idea of what elemental they really resonate with?
Yeah. So usually I like to guide them through a process to really, like in this deep meditative creative process, to really connect with it. I've had people come to me and they're like, oh, I think it's this, or they really like something maybe from a movie or from playing D&D. And then when they get into that deep state, it's like really connecting in, something else might emerge. It could be similar, but something else might emerge. And we really get, ask them prompts and questions to really get that clear and defined. But yeah, it's, it can be angelic, it could be star being, it could be elf, fairy, mermaid, some kind of mix of those. Some people have kind of these hybrids of that. And then what's that sort of role? Is it sort of a wizard or a witch or a priestess, right? Or I've had that, like a guy that was more like this chronicler, librarian, sort of teacher type. So really getting that defined. And then I kind of like to tell people to date your avatar, right? If you were to meet somebody new you really liked, you'd find out what they like to eat, what kind of activities they like to do. So you're sort of inquiring into the avatar to help you bring it to life. And then what that does is it allows you to sort of step out of your human story, right? We have our human identity that's been built up from our journey here and our experiences and cultural. This allows you to sort of step out of it and begin to transform your life, because you're coming back to your true self and what that really magical, mythical self is that's inside you that you've been probably waiting for. And then you get to bring that to life and start making those sort of changes in your life that are more in alignment with who you really are and what's, your deep passion and your purpose and your essence and your gifts to the world.
I love that, because what I find is when I work with clients and I'm able to work with them on this level of what they are, their pluses and minuses, it helps you see where your challenges may be, because this elemental being would have this, right? Because here's a great example. If you have a very much an angelic presence and soul, angels are of service and they tend to give more than they should, and they have to learn about boundaries, but they have these beautiful energies of heart and giving. And so everything has a balance in all areas. And so understanding that, when you really start looking at it, you can see what your superpowers have been in this lifetime based on that, because it'll align, and what your challenges and opportunities have been, because it will align in that area as well.
Totally.
So it's really kind of educational, eye-opening gifts when you kind of figure out. And so I love to help people kind of understand kind of where they sit. See, I'm mermaid energy. So understanding the mermaid and why she comes through so strong, she's very emotional. It describes me to a T. Just say that, and it's, I have to learn to move with the water, because the water is my element. So
that's it. It helps you like know what you need as well. Like maybe in the elf, like I've always loved being in nature, but I realize like how much I need to be in the trees. And if I'm away from them, like my energy starts to go down and I start to feel more kind of anxious and disempowered. But as soon as I get into the forest, I come back to life. So I'm like, that's what I'm the elf, of course. I gotta be in the woods with my tree friends, right?
And you need to recharge, right?
I gotta recharge. That's it.
I love that.
And we even, in the book here, there's the whole section I can show you. I mean, there's ideas in here of different avatars,
Oh, I
right?
love that.
To give you some inspiration and ideas. So there's a bunch in here, and then there's a whole section for your avatar for you to really journal and dialogue and dial out your avatar's name, what it looks like, its background, its origins, its traits, its qualities, and then like you were just saying, areas of improvement and challenges, right? And its skills and abilities. So it really helps you define that and get a really clear concept of that, which of course expands. My Elven Wizard, I've been doing this for 3 years now, so it continues to grow and develop. And I've had other players, and theirs really grows and develops and takes on its own life, just like a character in a story. So,
and then you also
get to create your sanctuary, which is your homeworld of your avatar. So after you've done your avatar, it's your homeworld. And so mine, of course, is like this magical forest with this big Elven Wizard tower inside trees. And so that's my place to then go to in between my other journeys, a place to recharge and integrate and sort of take back my experiences to build up that sanctuary. So that's another part of this you get to build and explore.
So when are you building your own tree house?
I'm waiting for all the pieces to align.
Hopefully any day now. Aaron.
You see it coming? All right, thank you.
I see you having a tree house somewhere.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the vision I'm holding. So at some point here.
I think we need to connect you. You remember that reality show where they go out and build these beautiful tree houses, and I forget what it was called. But I think we need to connect. I think that would be a great
that's a good
show for them.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I envision Elven treehouse and like lodging to have people come and do little retreats and classes and things like that, and little magical ceremonies and stuff.
I love that. I love that. You need lots of trees, that's for sure.
That's totally.
So when does your book come out? So those that are watching, because I know it's not out yet, but by the time this plays, it should be out. But when is the expected release date?
Yeah, I'm waiting on the final kind of proof from the printers. And then they say about 2 months out. So I'm hoping end of November, early December, we'll have them out to everybody. I do have a pre-order thing that you guys have them in your store. So you're gonna get, as soon as we got them, we'll be shipping you some to have in your store. So hopefully by end of November, early December.
That's awesome. So you can go out and pre-order it, or you can stop by Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. We will have them in our classroom event center that you can pick up a copy. I can't wait to get my copy. I'm kind of interested in this. I think it will also be a great gift for some of my grandkids that love games and stuff, to give them an opportunity to try this and experience that. So
it's really fun. I've gotten a few feedback from a few families that have gotten to do it together, and it's really amazing for them to get to share their experiences and their avatar. And then it's like everybody really sees, like, oh yeah, my grandma, she's the mermaid, right? My dad's this, right? It's like you get each other, right, in this deeper way and stuff. So it's really fun when a family can do it together, or partners, or we've done it in the classrooms, or also working on a program for teams, like a business team, to do it together as like a wellness thing, for everybody to see it together, see each other is really fun in that way.
I love that. I love that. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for taking the time today to chat with me. I was so excited to know he was going to be on the show, and I was going to get to meet and talk with him today. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
As you continue to expand and do your stuff, we'd love to have you back on the show in the future. So just reach out. I will reach out occasionally to say, hey, let's get you back. What's going on now? I would love that.
I love it.
I would love that. So those watching, thank you for watching our show. I hope you'll subscribe or follow us on all of our channels. We love to be able to connect with you. And I hope that you have a sacred, magical week as you move along your week. Thank you again for watching, and hope to see you soon.